Hi everyone, welcome to Gallant IAS. So, Prelims 2020 is over. It's time to analyze the question paper. We are going to solve all those questions asked from economy. If you write the total paper, economic questions are easy to moderate this year because there is 22 to 23 questions were asked, including current affairs and concepts. Majority of the concepts related questions were easy ones, and some questions with a little bit level of difficulty. Majority of those questions are from current affairs. So let's solve the paper. First one, gold tranche, reserve tranche refers to. Actually, this gold tranche is a component of quota by IMF to its member countries. Every member countries of IMF has to keep a certain percentage of money. They have to give a certain percentage of money to IMF. This is known as quota. Out of this quota, 25% they have to give in gold or foreign currency form, and remaining 75% in their own domestic currency. This 25% gold foreign currency part of quota is known as gold tranche. Gold tranche. And this will be available for member countries for their credit requirements. So the answer is option D, a credit system granted by IMF to its members. Next question. In India, the term public key infrastructure is used in the context. Actually, majority of the aspirants misunderstood this public key infrastructure as health and education structure. But actually the answer is option A, digital security infrastructure. Next question. If another global financial crisis happens in the near future, which of the following actions policies are most likely to give some immunity to India? Which of the following actions are most likely to give some immunity to India, which will helps to escape India from that global financial crisis? First statement, not depending on short-term foreign borrowings. Not depending on short-term borrowings means it reduces the exposure of Indian market to foreign market. Thereby, if any kind of financial crisis in foreign markets will have lesser repercussions in our market. So, first statement is correct. Second, opening up to more foreign banks, it increases the exposure for foreign markets. Thereby, it will have repercussions on Indian market. So, second statement is wrong. Third statement, maintaining full capital account convertibility. Full capital account convertibility means it increases the inflow and outflow of foreign capital, thereby increase the risk of investment. So that gives more exposure to Indian economy for the foreign investment volatility. So the third statement is also wrong. So the correct answer is option A, one only. Next question is a pure concept related question. If you know the concept well, you can easily get into the answer. If you withdraw rupees 1 lakh in cash from your demand deposit at your bank, the immediate effect on aggregate money supply in the economy will be. Please note, immediate effect on aggregate money supply. What constitutes money supply? It actually denoted on the base of liquidity. Currency, coins, and all demand current saving deposits in banks, all these items are very liquid. So it doesn't affect the money supply. Cash in hand and cash in demand deposits in bank have no big difference in the case of liquidity. Slight difference, but it doesn't have a huge impact on the total money supply. So even though you deposit money in the demand deposits and withdraw money, that doesn't have any effect on the total aggregate supply of money. So here the answer is to leave it unchanged. Option D. It is an easy one. Next question. With reference to foreign direct investment in India, which one of the following is considered its major characteristics? Foreign direct investment is not a debt investment. It is not a debt creating fund. Foreign direct investment is an investment on the business. Even though it is liability in the balance sheet of companies, it is not a debt. It is like capital. So the statement, it is the investment through capital instrument essentially in a listed company, not essentially in listed company. It is foreign investments, investment by a foreigner, foreign company, foreign entity in the country, in anywhere, not in a listed company or a unlisted company, wherever it is FTI. It is largely non-debt creating capital flow. Yes, it is non-debt creating capital flow. It is a capital flow, but it is not non-debt creating. So the answer is option B. Even though you get the answer, just look the other option statements. Option C, it is the investment which involves debt servicing. No, it is not a debt instrument. Option D, it is the investment made by foreign institutional investors in the government securities. It is absurd sentence. So the answer is option B, it is largely non-debt creating capital flow. Next question, with reference to international trade of India at present, which of the following statements are correct? India is always experiencing trade deficit. For last 20 years, 80 years, India experiencing trade deficit. That is excessive imports over export. Excessive imports over exports. First statement, India's merchandise exports are less than its merchandise imports. That is correct statement. India's merchandise exports are less than its merchandise imports. Second, India's imports of iron and steel, chemicals, fertilizers and machinery have decreased in recent years. Actually, these items, these industries are key industries. So there is no decrease in the imports of these iron, steel, chemical, fertilizers. So the second statement is wrong. If you know the second statement is wrong, you can eliminate option A and B. Then remain with C and D. You know that first statement is correct, then you can easily jump into the answer, that is option D. Just look the third and fourth statement. India's exports of services are more than its import of services. India has a surplus on its service trade. That is, on the case of service exports, we are exporting more than importing. So the third statement is correct. India's exports of services are more than its imports of services. Fourth statement, India suffers from an overall trade current account deficit. Yes, that is also correct. India is experiencing overall trade current account deficit. So the answer is option D, 1, 3 and 4 only. Next question, the term West Texas Intermediate sometimes found in news referred to a grade of. Actually, this West Texas Intermediate is a benchmark. It's a benchmark for crude oil. That benchmark is used for trade in futures and contracts of crude oil. West Texas Intermediates is a benchmark like Brent crude, Dubai crude. West Texas Intermediates is based on US. So the answer is option A, crude oil. Next, in the context of Indian economy, non-financial debt includes which of the following? Non-financial debt is a debt that is incurred by households, government, corporations, other than financial sectors. Other than from financial sectors. That is non-financial debt. All these three options are non-financial debt. Housing loans owed by households, amounts of outstanding on credit cards, treasury bills. All these are non-financial debt. So the answer is option D, 1, 2 and 3. Next, TRIMS. With reference to trade-related investment measures, which of the following statements are correct? Actually, this TRIMS is an agreement by WTO. It is done in 1995 by its member countries. It is one of the 4 agreements, trade agreements done under WTO. It is on investments. So TRIMS, trade related investment measures. First statement, quantitative restrictions on imports by foreign investors are prohibited. Yes, quantitative restrictions on imports by foreign investors are prohibited. First statement is correct. If you know the first statement, you can eliminate option B, 2 only. Second statement, they apply to investment measures related to trade in both goods and services. That is wrong. Trims is only related with trades. Not talk about only related with goods. Not talk about services. Only goods. So the second statement is wrong. If you know the second statement is wrong, you can eliminate option B, A and C. Easily jump into the answer, that is option C. Third statement, they are not concerned with the regulation of foreign investment. That is correct, not concerned with the regulation of foreign investment. The answer is option C, 1 and 3 only. And another concept-based question. If the RBI decides to adopt an expansionist monetary policy, which of the following would it not do? The question is regarding which of the following would it not do? Expansionist monetary policy means more money to the market, more money supply. That means reducing the repo rate and availing more money to the banks and thereby to the economy itself. So that is expansionist monetary policy. First statement, cut and optimize the statutory liquidity ratio. Current statutory liquidity ratio is 80%. That means if a bank at 100 rupees, they have to keep 80 rupees as statutory liquidity ratio, and remaining money only the banks are available to give as loans. If it reduced to 70 rupees, so more money will be available with banks to give loans. So it increase the money supply. First statement is not there. Second, increase the marginal standing facility rate. If marginal standing facility rate, what is marginal standing facility rate? That is a credit instrument available to banks by RBI. If banks are in dire need of money, they can approach RBI and RBI gives loans to them at a rate. That rate is known as marginal standing facility rate. It will be always be higher than repo rate. So, increase in the marginal standing facility rate reduce the money supply to bank, thereby to the public, the economy. So the second statement is wrong. It expansionist monetary policy time, RBI will not increase the marginal standing facility rate. And third, cut the bank rate and repo rate. Yes, it induced the expansionist monetary policy, increase the money supply in the economy. So 1, 3 are measures of expansionist monetary policy, 2 is not. So the answer is option B, 2 only. Here the question is regarding which of the following not do at the time of expansionist monetary policy. 58, if you don't know the data accurately, you can answer it using logic. With reference to Indian economy after the 1991 economic liberalization, consider the following statements. First, worker productivity increased in urban areas while it decreased in rural areas. No, worker productivity is not decreased. First statement is wrong. Second, the percentage share of rural areas in the workforce is steadily increased. Please note extreme statement, steadily increased. Not steadily increased the percentage of share of rural areas workforce. Actually, there is a migration from rural to urban after liberalization. So, second statement is also wrong. If you know the first and second statements are wrong, then you can eliminate A and D. Let's look at the third statement. In rural areas, the growth in non-farm economies increase. Yes, non-farm. Jobs in those areas other than agriculture is increased. In rural areas, the growth in non-farm economies increase. 4. The growth rate in rural employment decreased. Growth rate in rural employment decreased. That is also correct statement. So the answer is option B, 3 and 4. Next question. In terms of short-term credit delivery to agriculture sector, district central cooperative banks deliver more credit in comparison to scheduled commercial banks and regional rural banks. Actually, in 1951, at the time of independence, only 4% of agriculture credit is provided by commercial banks. But after nationalization of banks and some PSL norms mandated by RBI to banks, the loan credit availability by banks to agriculture sector is increased. Now around more than 70% of credit needs of agriculture sector is done by scheduled commercial banks. And although other cooperative societies and private lenders constitute just less than 30%. Less than 30%. So, first statement is wrong. In terms of short-term credit, in terms of short-term and long-term credit, scheduled commercial banks are giving more loans to agriculture sector than district, central and cooperative banks. First statement is wrong. One of the most important functions of DCCBs, that is district, central cooperative banks, is to provide funds to the primary agriculture credit societies. That is correct. So the answer is option B, 2 only. Next, in India, under the cyber insurance for individuals, which of the following benefits are generally covered in addition to payment for the loss of funds and other benefits? Here only one statement is wrong. Cost of restoration of the computer system in case of malware disrupting the access to one's computer is right statement. Cost of hiring a specialized consultant to minimize the loss in case of cyber extortion is also right statement. Cost of defense in the court of law if any third party files a suit, that is also a right statement. The wrong statement is cost of new computer if some miscreant willfully damage it if proved so. There is no provision for new computer cost. So, by eliminating option statement 2, you can get into the answer, that is option B, 1, 3 and 4 only. Next, in India, which of the following can be considered as public investment in agriculture? What is the speciality of public investment? Difference between public investment and private investment. Private investment is the investment done by the farmer itself. Investment done by the individual, that is farmer, which means buying the land, buying the tractor. So, all those investment done by the farmer itself, that is private investment. Public investment is done by the public authorities, government, banks, etc. And investment is for long-term needs, not for short-term. All those money flow to long-term needs, that is investment. So, first statement, fixing minimum support price for agriculture produce of all crops. There is two problems in this statement. First one, for all crops. In India, MSP is allowed only for 25 crops including sugarcane, not for all crops. And also, fixing minimum support price, that is MSP, is not a public investment, a long-term investment. Notice, not a long-term investment, it is a short-term benefit. So, first statement is wrong. If you know the first statement is wrong, then you can easily get into the answer, because other than option C, all other options include first statement. Second, computerization of primary agriculture credit society, that is a public investment in agriculture. Social capital development, that is also public investment. Free electricity supply to farmers is a short-term investment. It is a short-term benefit, that is not a public investment. Waiver of agriculture loans by the banking system, that is also for a short-term one. 6, setting up cold storage facilities by the government, that is correct. So the answer is option C, 2, 3 and 6 only. Next, what is the importance of the term interest coverage ratio of a firm in India? What is this interest coverage ratio? It is a rate that is determined by banks that defines how easily a company can cover its interest on outstanding debt. It measures the ability of a company's ability to cover its interest on outstanding debt. So that is interest coverage ratio. Higher the interest coverage ratio, higher the ability of companies to cover its debt. So let's look the statement. First one, it helps in understanding the present risk of a firm that a bank is going to give loan to. That is correct. Second statement, it helps in evaluating the emerging risk of a firm that a bank is going to give loan to. That is also correct. And options, third statement is opposite statement. The higher a borrowing firm's level of interest coverage ratio, the worse is its ability to service its debt. That is wrong. It is exact opposite. Higher the borrowing firm's level of interest coverage ratio, the better is its ability to service its debt. So by eliminating option 3, you can get into the answer, that is option A, 1 and 2 only. Which of the following factors, policies were affecting the price of rice in India in the recent past? All these 4 factors affecting the price of rice in India. Minimum support price, yes. MSP is given for rice, that is the price of rice. Government trading, yes, affects the price of rice. Government stockpiling, it also affects the price of rice. Consumer subsidies, it gives more money to consumers and increase the ability of consumers to buy rice and increase the demand, thereby increase the price. So it affects the price of rice. So the answer is option D, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Next, consider the following statement. First statement, the value of Indo-Sri Lanka trade has consistently increased in the last decade. No. It is an extreme statement. Last decade means last 10 years. For the last 10 years, India-Sri Lanka's trade is not consistently increasing. First statement is wrong. Second, textile and textile articles constitute an important item of trade between India and Bangladesh. That is right. Textiles and textiles articles is the most important item of trade between India and Bangladesh. Third statement, in the last 5 years, Nepal has been the largest trading partner of India in South Asia. That is wrong. Bangladesh is the largest trading partner of India in South Asia, not Nepal. Nepal comes second. Bangladesh is the largest trading partner of India in South Asia. So the answer is option B, 2 only. Next, in which one of the following groups are all the 4 countries members of G20? Option A, Argentina, Mexico, South Africa, Turkey is all 4 are members of G20. All other options are odd one out. Australia, Canada, Malaysia and New Zealand. Malaysia is not member of G20. New Zealand is not member of G20. Option B is wrong. Option C, Brazil, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Vietnam. Iran is not member of G20. Vietnam is not member of G20. Option C is wrong. Option D, Indonesia, Japan, Singapore and South Korea. Singapore is not member of G20. So the only correct option is option A, Argentina, Mexico, South Africa and Turkey. Next, under the Kisan credit card scheme, short-term credit support is given to farmers for which of the following purposes? Short-term credit support under the Kisan credit card scheme, short-term credit support, not long-term credit support. Working capital for maintenance of farm assets. Yes, that is a short-term credit need. So that is in the Kisan credit card scheme. First statement is correct. Purchase of combine harvesters and tractors and mini trucks, that is long-term investment, that not available under Kisan credit card scheme. Consumption requirement of farm households, yes, that is available. Post harvest expenses, yes, that is also short-term credit needs and that is also available in Kisan credit card scheme. Construction of family house and setting up of family village cold storage facility, that is wrong. That is a long-term investment that not covered by Kisan credit card scheme short-term credit support. So the answer is option B, 1, 3 and 4 only. Option B, 1, 3 and 4 only. Next, consider the following statement. The weightage of food in consumer price index is higher than that in wholesale price index. In consumer price index, CPI rural gives 55% weightage for food articles. CPI urban gives 45% weightage for food articles, that is higher than WPI weightage for food articles. So first statement is correct. WPI does not capture changes in the price of services which CPI does. That's correct. WPI does not include services. That is the big problem of WPI. That's why we are planning to change into producer price index. A study group is constituted to study the what will be the benefit if we change to producers price index from WPI. So second statement is correct. Third statement, Reserve Bank of India has now adopted WPI as its key measure of inflation and to decide on changing the key policy rate. That's wrong. In 2040, RBI adopted CPI as its key measure. CPI as its key measure. Third statement is wrong. So the answer is option A, 1 and 2 only. Next, consider the following statements. In the case of all cereals, pulses and oilseeds, the procurement at minimum support price is unlimited in any state of UT of India. There is 2 wrong things in this statement. In India, not all pulses get MSP because only 25 crops get MSP. And next, there is no unlimited procurement by states. There is no unlimited procurement by state. So the first statement is wrong. In case of cereals and pulses, the MSP is fixed in any state or UT at level to which the market price will never rise. That is wrong. There is no provision of to fix MSP at a rate that at which market price will never rise. No. That is also wrong. So the answer is option D, neither 1 nor 2. Next question, with reference to the Indian economy, consider the following statement. Commercial paper is a short-term unsecured promissory note. That is correct. Commercial paper is a short-term unsecured promissory note. Certificate of deposit is long-term instrument issued by Reserve Bank of India to corporation. That is wrong. Certificate of deposit is issued by scheduled commercial banks, not by Reserve Bank of India. And it is not for short-term, it is majority is for long-term. So second statement is wrong. If you eliminate second statement, you will get the answer because first statement is correct, then the answer is option C. Look at the third statement, call money is a short-term finance used for interbank transactions. That is correct. Then fourth statement, zero coupon bonds are the interest-bearing short-term bonds issued by the scheduled commercial banks to corporation. That is wrong because zero coupon bonds does not cover interest. It is not an interest-bearing short-term bond. Actually, it is long-term bond and it is not interest-bearing. That means if a 10,000 rupees worth zero coupon bond issued, actually it will be issued at a price lower than its maturity price. That is the lower than its face value. That is around 9,000 or something. The difference between this issued price and the face value is the profit, is the earning from this zero coupon bond. So the first statement is also wrong. The answer is option C, 1 and 3 only. And the last question is, with reference to chemical fertilizers in India, consider the following statements. At present, the retail price of chemical fertilizers is market driven and not administered by the government. That is wrong. Actually, the price of urea, a chemical fertilizer, is decided by the government, not driven by market forces. So some chemical fertilizers price were decided by government and some are not by government. So first statement is wrong. Ammonia, which is an input of urea, is produced from natural gas. That is correct. Sulfur, which is raw material for phosphoric acid fertilizer, is a byproduct of oil refineries. That is also correct. So the answer is option B, 2 and 3 only. So that's all. Thank you.